Am I audible to you? I see Mohit here. I see Yogesh. Am I audible to you? Okay, fine. Let's start. So good evening all. Yeah, good evening. Good. My name is Kaushik Bhaduri. I am founder. Am I audible to you? Yeah. Good evening all. My name is Kaushik Bhaduri. I am the founder, My Money Advisor, and I take lectures at the University of Delhi and TKW Institute of Banking on wealth management studies and compliances. Today, TKW has asked me to take a web seminar on super specialization is the way to build a successful career. We take this subject, and when TKW asked me to do this seminar, I was a bit awakened. Super speciality in career, this is something which was new to me. I had not heard about being a super specialist. I tried to dig in a bit into it and found that super speciality was more about super speciality hospitals. The Google all told me about super speciality in hospitals, the large hospitals. Anyway, now having known the meaning, I realized that there might be not be a word super specialist. Yet we needed something like a super specialist with our careers. A doctor who understands that anatomy of the body is a doctor. A super doctor, or we call it a specialist, is a person who knows a particular part of the body. Let's take it a heart. But then who is a super specialist? A super specialist doctor would be one who would dig deeper inside the heart. We shall call it a precision surgeon. With time, advancement in technology and research, the roles have changed from that of a surgeon to a precision surgeon. This certainly has resulted in high superior performances, higher success rates, improved quality of life for the patient. Needless to say that it resulted in more name, fame, and money for the super specialist and also the organizations and the businesses which dealt with super specialist business cases. This super specialty is not restricted to just doctors. We have super specialists as an advocate, a journalist, engineer, bankers, wealth managers, and many more. The idea of super specialist is to change from being a generalist to a super specialist by quality education, advanced knowledge, superior learning, and from the masters of the industry, research programs, the skill development programs, of course, hours and hours of practical work in the place of work wherever you are working. But what is this super specialty? Is just the education be enough for being a super specialist? No, a super specialist cannot be brought about in a day or even forgotten after the course is over. It goes with your life, it goes with your career. Once learning the course is over and the training is over, that requires a lot of practice, a precision working, hours and hours of dedication, refresher courses to bring about the new advances in the related industry. Precision in your careers requires more number of hours with the new technologies, new advances, mastering those new technologies, working with them and bringing it to your work. With the use of artificial intelligence, advanced machines, robo-advisors, the generalists have actually lost a lot of work. The new work is going to the specialist in the industry. The machines are able to do the generalist work, and typically the generalist who is a normal in any of the side That work is taken up by the machines in this day. Talking about our industry, the banking and wealth management, the role of bankers have also undergone a massive change in the last 2 decades. The bankers who used to get recruited, say at the age of 22 and 23, as a pure banker, he would be posted in one department of the bank. Let's say the repo, the reverse repo, the CRR, the capital adequacy, the treasury side, the loan side, or even the advances, asset quality, credit monitoring, NPA management, DRT, any of them, SURFACI, they would get rotated in between seats. And as in the olden days, they used to say a banker needs to be rotated every 3 years so that there is no fraud and other things in the bank. The generalist would then keep moving from a department and another department, learning the trade of the tricks, assisting the seniors in the system, uh, and doing the operations of the business. This was a new dimension. Now, with these things, the bank was ready to add a new dimension also in the banking. From CRR side, the treasury part, the asset part, a new development was started in the role of an advisory. We can call it a third party products where the bank earns their fees without spending or directly operating in the business. This is a new dimension to banking where the bankers are now wealth managers or a consultant. In the previous years, a newly recruited officer was supposed to be assisting the seniors in the operational work while he was learning along and be rotated through the departments of the bank. His and her career progressed, as mentioned above. But now, with competition being steeper, limited margins in the operation, use of automation technology, new recruits, utility in the operations in the bank was reduced. The banking operations was more about a machine taking over the place of a man. How would a new recruit cope with these things in a bank? In your career, the new things needed a lot of learning, a lot of work, which requires precision working, understanding, networking with the thing. Let's get an example in case of a bank. Suppose Mr. X, who is a new recruit, have been trained well through the bank and now ready to face the client. This time, a client comes, a rich client comes to the bank and asks for an FD to be made. Now, this young recruit hands the gentleman an FD form. Is this what the bank is expecting out of this young recruit? Not really. We are not into the 90s and 80s where the monopoly was the bank. Here, the customer is the master. You need to be a specialist with the activity. This is the time when the bank expects the recruit to be speaking to the client, talking about what is the exact requirement of making an FD. Maybe this person would do well if he was suggested with an insurance policy, with a mutual fund, with a debt mutual fund, or something which attracted consulting advices. Maybe this HNI could have given a new lead to the banker. Maybe the banker would have got a few new clients engaged through this customer. This is the work of a specialist. A generalist, in case of a generalist, he would have simply handed over the FD form, got the FD for X amount. But in this case, the new recruit is able to speak to the customer, convert him into a fee income, convert him into a higher management fees for the bank, and in return get more profits for the bank, ask for new clients, ask for the network to be used. And this is the work of a specialist. This simply means that while the recruit and doing promotions, only a specialist will be preferred over a generalist in a longer run. What does this mean to a new recruit? A new recruit is supposed to be well educated, qualified for the position, be intelligent, quick learner, be adaptive to the new environment. She is supposed to be learner, research, network, apply his research and learnings, advise the bank's client for a more profitable and long-lasting relationships. Better a candidate is able to scale up the network, the bigger is their possibility of climbing up the corporate ladder. This gives a wide range of new activities also for a super specialist. While a generalist in a bank or any kind of a program he is in, he would always like that he be sticking to the job he is in and continues with the same kind of a job lifelong. While a super specialist will keep hopping from a new organization to the new skill sets to the new advanced techniques, and perhaps at some point of time getting into venture capitalist or into entrepreneurship. I conclude by saying super specialty in your career is a recognition of your ability and commitment in pursuit of knowledge and excellence. Needless to say, money, fame, name, recognition shall follow. Students, this is about super specialty with your careers, how you can take your career from the beginning part to get into a higher learning, to get into something which is more into the advanced part, getting into the precision part, doing the research and using that towards your career. You can be asking me a questions which comes your way, and I will be happy to be answering you any of them. Yes, anybody? Well, I get the first question here. Mohit is asking me, uh, give us some examples of super specialty in banking. Nice. This is a very relevant question, Mr. Mohit. Let's go about this. A bank has got many functions. A repo, reverse repo, capital adequacy. These things are dealing with the bank's different aspects of the banking. Now, these are all the treasury functions of a bank. When you learn the repo and get into the specialist part, you start predicting the repo rates, you start getting into how profitable the treasuries could be for the bank. In fact, the best part is in most of the high and big banks, you will find the treasuries adding a considerable amount to the bottom line of the bank. While there could be a recession in the market when the loans are not picking up, there could be some reason where the wealth management is not getting picked up, there could be something where the new deposits are not coming, but whenever the sales are not happening, but outside that, whenever you can be making money through the treasuries, that is where the specialist in a banking function called the treasury benches in a bank, they make money for the bank. I hope, Mohit, I had been able to explain you the treasury part of banking. This is Harshil. He wants to know about the super specialty career in artificial intelligence. He's talking about robotics. Well, uh, Harshil, my knowledge is limited into this field about electronics and robotics, but let me tell this thing and bring it to the banking side. Uh, when I joined my career some 20 years back, there was a saying when the IT head of my company had said 20 years back that he dreamt of a day when our bank's debit card will be used in any bank's ATM. Many of us, the new recruits those days, were surprised. How would a bank using a X bank's debit card, you go to a Y bank and get this money? Yes, it has become reality now, and it is possible. There will be a day when you will be able to use your check into getting into any bank and withdraw the money. Those days will be coming. And when you look into these artificial intelligence and all, this is because of the electronics, artificial intelligence, the new technologies, the bank server getting interacting in very less of a time between each other. These things have become possible. Now, when I joined banking 20 years ago, I found that there were many tellers in a bank. But with time, this thing as a teller in a bank, or a person who was making a demand draft for a customer in a bank, these things have now moved out. These things are getting outsourced, and maybe these things will not even be uh, theirs in a few years. You've got robotic machines who were already paying you money through an ATM machine. Now new banks are coming up with new machines which could accept money for you. I think this is the new technology getting introduced in bank. There will be many more. Unfortunately, I am not into much of electronics and technology, so I will like to stick to my side of banking and the use of technology in banking. Well, I have got Nikita here. Hi, Nikita. You have asked a question that by becoming a what can a student do to become a super specialist personnel? Very important. You need to be, first of all, a quick learner. As I explained, you need to be doing an advanced courses in particular field you have chosen. You could be choosing treasury as your field. You could be choosing a wealth management as your field. Now, wealth management is a vast field. You cannot just say that I want to be selling a mutual fund. That is not precision fund financial advisor. You need to be knowing that which mutual fund, how does this mutual fund be different from another one, do the research work, and come with a conclusion where the client will be willing to pay you that extra money for the higher kind of a quality advice he gets. So it all depends upon how many number of hours you are put in into your research, new learning, new development, using those into your work, and getting the end result for a client. Do we have any more questions? Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, this is Mohit back again, and he is asking me, can we give you some examples in banking? Super specialists in banking. Yes, Mohit, you can have super specialists in banking. You can be a super specialist in the field of loans and advances, where you would be taking only the project loans. Somebody would be a super specialist who could be taking only loans given to the credit cards. You have specialists in the loan side only who would deal with perhaps new ventures. You would be having somebody who would be dealing in the working capital management. So a super specialist is a person who would be able to read the balance sheets of the clients and be able to guide him exactly what is the amount which is required for these particular things. Super specialty in banking will also be into the wealth management side, or even in the liability side of the balance sheet. The wealth management will talk about exactly which insurance policy do you need, how much is the insurance content you need, are you over insured, do you need any more, should you add something because you have taken up something riskier in life, or you don't need an insurance at all. Similarly, with the mutual fund, they will be able to guide you through your retirement corpus, a midlife corpus, and something well into succession planning. There could be other wealth management parts also. There could be other somebody who would deal in defaults in a bank. We will call it the NPA management, the specialist who would be handling the NPA side, the DRT side, the law side of the banking. The super specialty means you will be able to handle those things precisely, quickly, and give a result which is meaningful to the bank and profitable to the bank, profitable to the customer as well. I get another question from Harshul, who's asked, is graduation sufficient for a good career to be a, or to do a post graduation for which better? How will it be beneficial to us? Well, Harshul, the first thing is graduation could only put you to a bank, maybe even not in today's case. You need to be a postgraduate, you need to be a specialist, you need to be doing something which makes you more profitable to the bank to hire you. These are the days I very frequently use it, the first among equals. Now, if somebody, there is a position where two people apply for a position, it will always be somebody who knows it better. So I think, Arshul, I have given you an answer again that you will require higher education, specialized education, new research work, working on those research, working on those projects to be profitable to the bank as well as to the client. Let me tell you, both need to be paying a super specialist and higher thing, and even feel that yes, they have done a good thing by paying somebody and got advantage out of that. Uh, I've got another one question here. I don't read the name well. Okay, this is Nikita. How do we crack the interview of a bank? Banking is such a vast field. Well, Nikita, you're right. You will require some kind of a training to be going through. In my case, I'll tell you, TKW Institute of Banking and Finance does a wonderful thing. They train you into many of the fields, getting into this specialized into banking. You need to put in some time. You need to rehearse those hours while you are facing the interview. Many a times we get confused, many a times we are unable to understand, but going through these kind of a cases regularly, helping, getting help from seniors who had been a banker. I had been a banker associated with TKW. Likewise, there are many senior faculties in banking who keep coming to the institute. Many institutes, in fact, train you about how to do, how to crack, what not to be doing. We teach you about learning, but we teach you about things to unlearn too. I hope, Nikita, I have given you your answer. If you need more, you can write and ask me. I have got one more. This time, this is Ravi. He is asking me, why do some students get high packages while some get less? How can I prepare myself for higher salary? That's a very relevant question, Ravi. I think I'll require some time to make you understand this thing. Let's understand that everybody today applying for any job is a graduate or a postgraduate. He has done his basics well and perhaps even got into the best kind of a numbers. At the highest level of competition, the hard work and the talent becomes nearly similar. You need something different from that hard work and talent. You need to have that aptitude to be there, that aptitude the banking companies are demanding from you. Maybe a student who is able to get or ask for a higher salary is the person who is able to cope up pressure better, cope up stress better. Maybe he is able to do that extra bit or walk that extra mile so that he is able to convince a customer or crack a bigger deal. It all depends upon, again, not just your education, where I think everybody would be similar. It gets beyond that. It takes a lot of discipline, hard work, patience, perseverance, and persistence. Maybe you will have to put in a few extra hours. Maybe you'll have to watch your friend doing and going that extra mile. do those same extra miles to get and command a higher salary. I hope, Ravi, I have explained your point. If you need any more answers, if you need me to clarify something, I'll be happy to do that. Do I have any more questions? Yeah, anybody? Uh, I get a new question here. Harshul, you have asked me, currently I am a student in IT field. Can I change into finance or banking field, and how will it be done? Very relevant questions. We start our 10th class and come into our 11th into a field. Perhaps that remains our field for the next 5 years into 10th, into 11th and 12th, followed by our graduation 3 years. That is the time we realize that maybe we need to change our field. Maybe my attitude and aptitude is different from the studies which I am making or studying here. Yes, it is wonderful that you are into the IT field, and if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a change, you will require a few years of learning to be trained as a banker. And I am very sure that you will make a wonderful banker, a wonderful wealth manager, or wonderful IT consultant, maybe in a bank. And bank needs IT specialists too. You can be doing these things. You can join a good institute. You can join an institute which does courses. A DU does a course in banking. TKW does a course in banking. There are many institutes. See, it's not that if you don't do a course, you will not be able to become a banker. It's certainly not like that. But if you do a specialized course in banking, it helps you become a banker quicker, faster, and maybe able to get you a salary which is a bit higher than perhaps the competition. Definitely, for one thing, I'll say that it makes life a bit easier for a student to be guided properly or get guided properly. Do I have any more questions? I don't think so. I have got, okay. I've got one student, Rani Rawat. She's asking me, is doing an MBA worth it? Why not? And what does an MBA do? If you think that reading the books and getting a degree in MBA is fine, I don't think so. There are top 20 colleges. You need to be getting into those fields. And how does a top 20 college perhaps be different from something else? Maybe the quality of education may be same, but they give you an opportunity to do a higher kind of a research work, followed by many industry people who would come as a coach and help you doing this. Yes, MBA makes sense, but doing an MBA and not learning from it, just getting a education of MBA will not be fine. You need to be able to apply the MBA into your field, and certainly it is worth a decision. Do I have any more questions? No, yes. So I have got one more question. Sir, I will do my MBA or MTech after doing BTech. Yes, why not? The senior most people doing their MBAs are always, uh, most of them are technologists. If the biggest of the MBA colleges, the IIMs will have people who have done their, they are already a chartered accountant, they are already a company secretary and coming and becoming an MBA. There are people from the who have done their bachelors in technology, bachelors, their MTech, their BTechs, and they would come and do an MBA. Yes, it is worth doing an MBA so that you are able to. So what is an MBA? it is a lot of research work. It's just not studying a few books. It is a lot of research work. It is a lot of networking and applying those techniques into your work field. I think it is worth a decision to take, and it is worth a career to pursue. Which one is more beneficial? Are you asking me an MBA or an MTech, or you are asking me MTech with an MBA? I think I will go for an MTech and an MBA. And if you tell me to choose either of them, I will better tell you to stick to your field. If you are into banking and finance, there is no need going and doing an MTech. Do your MBA. And if you are into BTech, it's worthwhile being an MBA too. Do I have any more questions? Do I have any more questions? I think it's all over. I've addressed you. Last thing, I will conclude with one thing. Super specialty in your career is a recognition of your ability. It's a commitment in pursuit of knowledge and excellence. Needless to say, money, name, fame, and recognition shall follow. This is only the byproduct of your work. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.